Okay, so we're going to study rolling motion. Let's see. Okay. The good news is when it comes to JEE mains, NEET, or even in advanced, the rolling motion of objects always takes place under certain restrictions. Okay, so there are certain assumptions. Okay, so
Mm.
normally almost all of the problems follow this trend. Okay, so if you take let's say if a cylinder is rolling or a disc is rolling or a sphere is rolling. Okay, now in the diagram of the problems you would actually see if a cylinder is rolling, suppose on a horizontal ground, if a cylinder is rolling, most of the time you see a circle, right?
Yeah.
You just see a circle. Okay, now the problem description might say that this is a cylinder.
Mm.
What this really means is if I take the cross section of the cylinder, which is aligning with the board, okay, that particular section is going to stay in this plane. Okay, so we are considering only whatever is happening in this plane is representative of the motion of the cylinder.
Mm.
Okay, because if I take a solid sphere also, and again I'm not really looking at what is happening everywhere, let's say to the sphere. Okay, I'm not considering all the particles. I'm just taking a cross section and then I'm saying that, okay, whatever is happening to this cross section, the particles, the way they move in this plane is a representation of the motion of the object. Okay, so it's called planar motion. Okay, so we're only studying planar motion. Okay, so in a plane. Another way of understanding the same thing is for this cylinder, if I take the axis, okay, so this axis, here axis passes through center and perpendicular to the plane in which we have this cross section. Okay, so perpendicular to the board, you can say
Mm.
plane. And if I think about it, the axis, let's say, always kind of translates. Okay, so if I happen to take a look at the cylinder at a later point in time, suppose the cylinder goes to this position. Okay, so the axis here is going to be parallel to the earlier axis. I mean, the axis shifting.
Mm.
Okay, so the orientation of the axis is not going to change. Okay, it is just shifting parallel to itself. Okay, so the orientation of the axis does not change. Okay, orientation of the axis does not change. Okay, change. Okay, it just shifts parallel to itself. Okay, it shifts parallelly to itself. Now, these are the two restrictions that you have to keep in mind. Okay, in fact, these restrictions actually make the understanding of rolling motion very easy. It's just not at all complicated.
Okay.
So are you okay with these two assumptions? One, if I take any rolling object, be it cylinder, disc, sphere, all I'm trying to do is like I'm picking a cross section and then I'm trying to understand. It's almost like a disc or a ring. Okay, it's like a thin ring or a thin disc that is sort of rolling maybe on a line. Okay, so the plane is represented as a line, right, in the diagrams. Okay, but yeah, I mean, mentally, if you visualize rigid body motion, is more complicated. But since the axis is going to shift parallel to itself, I think the motion itself is quite simple here.
Yeah.
Hmm? So these are the assumptions that we have to keep in mind.
Okay.
Now let us understand what exactly this rolling motion is. I think when we talked about center of mass, we said we can actually take the help of center of mass to understand, let's say, complex motion of any object. Okay, so here again we are saying that it will not be very complex, but definitely it is slightly more complex than the translation. Okay, so when you have just a block sliding on a plane, that's too simple.
Hmm.
Okay, so it is slightly complicated, but it's still easy. Okay, trust me on that. It is still easy. So let's look at that. Okay, now here the first thing to understand here is we will break this. Okay, so if I look at rolling motion, it's made up of translation and rotation. Okay, so there are two things here. All right.
Hmm.
Now, if I just take a disk, suppose. Okay, so if I just take a disk, so let's say I have a disk. Now, if this is a smooth surface, if there is no friction between the disk and the horizontal surface, now if you apply a horizontal force anywhere,
Hmm.
okay, so I mean, if the center is here, if I apply a horizontal force anywhere, the translation will happen. Okay, but depending on, let's say, how aligned this, let's say, force vector is. Okay, so in certain cases, it might give you some torque. Okay, so if you take, let's say, these three force vectors, let's say I'll call this as F1, and this as F2, and this is F3, suppose. Now F2 passes through the center. F2 passes through the center.
Hmm.
Now we know torque is R cross F.
Yeah.
If I, let's say, try to calculate torque about center, about C,
What's
what
F?
is R really? R is, I mean, I can write the magnitude of torque as something like this. I think you might know R sine theta into F.
Hmm.
Okay, and then R sine theta, we can write it as R perpendicular. When I say R perpendicular, this is the perpendicular distance from the point about which you are calculating torque to the line of action of force.
Hmm.
So this R perpendicular is the perpendicular distance from the point about which you are calculating torque, so in this case C, to the line of action of force. Now, if I take these three forces, uh, let's say if I try to evaluate just whether there is torque or not, okay. So if I take this F1, F2, F3, force is there anyway. Now F1 is slightly away from the horizontal line that is passing through the center. So that means you will have R perpendicular, right? So force is anyway there. So that means F1 can provide torque. Okay, F2, the line of action of force is passing through the center. So perpendicular distance is 0.
0.
So that means this is not going to provide any torque. F3 is again away from the line passing through the center. That means it is going to provide torque. You get this?
Yeah.
So that means here, if I make sure that when I place a round object on a smooth surface, if I apply force, horizontal force in such a way that the line of action of force passes through the center, okay, there is no torque. You understand?
Hello?
Yes. Okay, so let me repeat what I said earlier. If the line of action of force passes through the center, then we have torque. Sorry,
We don't have
what I'm
torque.
saying, we don't have torque. If it is away, then we have torque. Okay, now what is the implication of having torque here? That means the object is going to rotate about an axis passing through that point. Okay, so we are saying, okay, it's like F is equal to ma, right? I mean, we have this Newton's second law for translation is F is equal to ma. And then Newton's second law for rotation about a fixed axis is torque is equal to I alpha.
I alpha.
Right. So that means there is a rotation. Okay. So the object rotates, you can say. There is angular acceleration, so object rotates. And we can say here does not rotate. And then here again rotates. You understand this idea?
Yeah.
Okay. This is another thing. Again, keep that in mind. So rolling motion, we want to split it as translation and rotation. Okay. So if F2 is applied, then you have only translation.
Okay.
That means every particle of the disk is going to just move horizontally.
Okay.
Okay. Then you don't really have to treat it as like a bigger object. You can just treat it as a particle.
Okay. Okay.
You understand? But if the forces are like F1 and F3, then I cannot treat it as a particle. You understand? Because in that case, I have both translation as well as rotation.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So now let us take another example. Now I'm taking a similar disk. This is the center. Now this is, now I'm saying it is a rough surface. If I apply a force, horizontal force, in such a way that the line of action of force passes through the center of the disk. Now, will translation be there? Will the disk translate?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means it will move forward. We say okay.
But it'll have friction.
So will it rotate?
No,
Why not?
because it's passing through the center.
Okay. Now, what is the direction of the friction force?
It's towards the left.
Towards the left. Okay, so you agree to that?
Yeah.
The direction of the friction force is towards left. Okay, now if this friction force is towards left, is it acting away from the axis? Matlab, if you imagine an axis passing through center and perpendicular to the board, is this friction force acting away from the center C? Is there a perpendicular distance?
Yeah.
So then should the object rotate because of friction force? Okay, will there be torque due to friction?
I don't think so.
Why not? So what is torque? Torque is R cross F, right? Now we are taking about center, right? So if I take the line of action of friction force, this is the line of action of friction force. So what is the perpendicular distance from the center to the line of action of force? That's the radius.
Yeah.
So if you look at the magnitude of torque provided by friction force, can I say it is R into F? So can I say there is torque? There is torque, right? That means it is going to rotate. You see this? Okay. Now this is, this is the thing that we need to understand when the object is rolling on a horizontal surface. Are you okay with this? Okay. Now I'll ask you a different question now. Okay. This question is interesting. Okay. So a lot of times my students, sometimes they get it wrong. Okay. It's okay to get it wrong. Okay. I'm not saying that we are learning, right? I get many things wrong. Okay. Trust me. I'm not lying. I get many things wrong. Okay. So let's say again, we are just taking the disk. Okay. So I'm just having like 2 time instance. So this is a disk. And okay, so what color do you like?
Yeah. Like black.
Oh, black is there. I mean, that is why I have, let's say, what is your second preferred color?
Purple.
Purple. Do I have purple? Let me see. Yeah, you are lucky. Okay, so I have purple. So let's say I get some paint. Okay, so purple paint. I put it on the rim of the disk. Okay, so I generously put paint on the rim of the disk. Okay, so very generously. So you have paint. Now, since I have just put the paint, this is a wet paint, right? Now take a point of the disk which is just touching the ground. Let's call that P. Okay. Now allow the disk to roll. Okay, so allow the disk to roll till P touches ground again. Okay, so are you clear with the situation?
Yeah.
So then what will happen? Because it is wet paint, you have this purple paint on the road, on the ground. Okay, and then there's still some paint left on the disk. Yes. So this point P now touched. Okay. Now, if I say this is L, this distance, okay, the length of the paint on the horizontal ground is L.
Hmm.
Now, can you tell me what is L?
Two pi r.
Okay. Does it always have to be 2 pi r?
No,
Why not?
maybe. hmm, Uh, like, does it only undergo like one rotation?
Yeah, it undergoes only one rotation. Because that point P, we are just allowing it to touch the ground again. So there's only one rotation about the axis of the disk.
Then I think yeah, it should be 2 pi r.
Okay. Do you think there is a possibility that it could be greater than 2 pi r?
Maybe because probably the paint reduces the friction a little bit and like it's slippery.
Okay, good thinking. I mean, sometimes it can slide, no?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, so suppose I mean, if it is very slippery, the disc or the wheel may not rotate that faster. It can slide forward.
Yeah,
Okay, if it is going to slip forward, then this can be greater than 2 pi r.
yeah.
Okay, so when there is slipping, see, this will happen. L is equal to 2 pi r will happen. You try to imagine this. Okay, suppose starting from the point P, which is touching the ground, if I start dividing the, let's say, again, you have to, I mean, I'm showing you as a ring, but you understand that this is a disk.
Hmm.
Now, I'm paying attention only to the particles on the periphery, okay, on the circumference. Now, if I divide them into many particles, let's say I'll call this as A, B, C, D, and so on. Okay, A, B, C, D, and so on, E, F, the many particles. Now, every particle that touches the ground, if it touches only once and then turns up to the left, okay, so as it rolls forward, if every particle on the periphery of the disk touches the ground only once, then the length of the paint on the ground will be exactly equal to the circumference.
Yeah.
But as they touch, if they slide slightly to the forward and then go up, then what will happen?
Then it'll be a little more.
Little more. Now, can it happen the other way around? Can it be little less? Can it be little less?
Hmm.
Can it be little less?
Don't know.
So can sometimes happen, let's say if you are cycling and then you get into a muddy patch, you're pedaling but the wheel got stuck. You might have seen in movies, the cars get stuck, the wheels get stuck.
Yeah.
You see them spinning,
Yeah.
but they're not moving forward. So if they're spinning in one spot, they're almost stuck. So if the rotation is higher than the forward movement, can this can also happen, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So all these three cases are possible. You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying? These three cases are possible. Okay, now this is a case again when it comes to mains and NEET, you're only interested in the middle case.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is something known as rolling without slipping.
Okay.
And sometimes I get little frustrated with the way the language is used. Uh, they just say rolls. You will
Mm.
see some of the problems in NEET and mains. Sometimes they are very careful, but sometimes they just say rolls. So it is understood that it rolls without slipping.
Slipping. Okay.
Okay, so I think again, I mean, in addition to the two assumptions that I told earlier, this is another assumption. You're going to see only problems where there is no slipping.
Okay.
But if you happen to take advanced, then you have to be careful with the other two cases also. And they do ask questions where there is slipping.
Mm.
Okay, so I mean, in these two cases, I can say that it is rolling, but there is slipping as well. Slips. Okay, so even here I can say slips. Are you okay here? You understand the idea?